I took a beating on Twitter, Craig.
Well,
These
that's
men.
as per usual, right?
Yeah, but it is. So, like, a thing that I do on Twitter for those that aren't on Twitter is I share, like, amusing stories at the table. Like, I told about the time where a friend of mine, and they're all my friends, and we're all trolling each other at the table, but I told a story about guy rating me 18 out of 30 and showing me, like, pictures of hotter women on his phone and stuff, which that, like, 100% happened. And I got all my drinks for free last time I watched the Mavs game with him because he felt so bad about it. And then I told another story more recently about the game girl at the game I was at expressed an interest in understanding the rules of the game.
Yeah.
So
you shared this one with me.
Yeah, so I was like, so the object of the game is to make the best 5-card hand possible. And I start, like, launching into my thing, and all the men cut me off, and they're like, whoa. You're going way over her head. So there are 4 suits. Hearts, diamonds. Like, start describing the shapes and colors of the suits. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, you're kind of talking down to her, but I just, like, got out of the way and, like, let them talk. So I share these, like, little stories on Twitter. And every time I share a story, there's, like, some nerd in the replies that's like, I'll take things that never happened for 500, Alex.
Alex Trebek?
Yeah,
Dead Alex.
he's dead. He's
amazing tonight.
Yeah. I was like, I hate that this is how you're finding out, but Alex died, hon.
Oh, so sorry to be the one to tell you, but it was like a year ago.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, your really hackneyed response is
I
also.
hearted it, just so you know.
Oh, thanks, Ash.
Well, I had a bad experience recently too. It was actually last night. I took my first L ever as a dealer.
Oh Lord, what does that mean?
I left the game before it was over. You know, I like Iron Man those games and
How humiliating.
Yeah. I didn't think the game was going to make, so I kind of did some other things during the day and refelted a bunch of tables at the lodge, was physically tired, but I was like, whatever, I'm probably not even working tonight. The guy organizing the game said it's probably not going to make, and then not only did it make, it was like psycho crazy home game, as you know how they can get and whatever, and it was like 4:30 in the morning, and the game was full. It was 10-handed, and there was people waiting, and I was like, I'm never going to get out of here. I knew we were recording today, and I was like, hey, dude, I got to go like in an hour or whatever, wherever.
How does
we're
it
at.
feel now that your coworkers and friends know that you are not, in fact, indestructible and you are, in fact, a pile of weak flesh?
The game runner, who you know,
Yeah.
was literally like celebrating as I left. He's like, we broke him. We broke him. So yeah, it turns out like, you know, refelting tables in the morning and like no nap and then 12 hours in the box is like, that's my breaking point.
You found it. Well, I'm proud of you.
Found the limit.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Poker Experience. My name's Caitlin Komeski. I'm joined by my co-host, Craig Sear, the fallible human dealer, Craig Sear. And then also we have a very special guest today. I'm so excited that she's here. She's a personal friend of mine. She has a YouTube vlog that is close to 20,000 subscribers now.
20.
We hit 20.
All
She's
right.
got 10K on Instagram. Her stock is rising. Get on that train. Please help me welcome my good friend, Pokerface Ash. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here because I'm a big fan of the podcast.
Yes. It's still unreal to me that people actually listen to these, that there is like a group of people that listen.
It's amazing to
Listen
me how
live.
many people jump in and they go, hey, I watched your podcast the other day. And I'm like, damn, I guess the video works. Like,
Yeah.
people do watch them. It's not just a listen thing.
Yeah, no, putting it on YouTube like doubles the amount of people that
For sure.
receive our podcast. So thank you. If you're one of them, please remember to like and subscribe. Call to action. So let's jump right into it, Ash. The first thing I want to ask you about is kind of like your background. I know you have a really unique background. Sort of what did you do before poker was the gig?
Yeah, I was really fortunate to grow up in a cool little, like my dad owned a mom and pop like music store growing up. So I was around music my whole life. And I was a musician, and growing up, I kind of like helped my dad run his music store. And then, so I was like a touring musician for a while, but in college, I played college basketball, and then I also coached college basketball. So I did like a little bit of everything. And then it wasn't until about 5 years ago, I started taking poker more seriously, started playing professionally about 3 years ago. Jamin and Andrew said, you should start a vlog. I said, you guys are insane. I'm not doing that. And now here we are. So that's my life in a nutshell.
Nice. How often are you churning out content these days for that channel?
So yeah, it was at first I had a kind of a slow start because I was the only one doing everything for my vlog. And so I was cranking out one every like couple weeks, but now the goal is one every week, no matter what, minimum. So
Nice.
we'll go from there.
You're keeping that pace. My goodness. With the TikToks on top. I noticed the TikToks, the day in the life TikToks too.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow Ash on all the platforms, y'all.
All the platforms. Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to do reels and stuff and shorts. And so there's just always room to just make more content.
The thing that's annoying is like the reel format and the TikTok format are so similar, and you want to share them on both, but it's like you got to remember to either screen record it or use a third-party app to get the watermark off of it so that it gets the correct algorithm on both.
Yep, I've definitely left the TikTok watermark on my Instagram ones, and I'm like, you know what? It is what it is.
I do too.
Saves a pile
Sometimes
of
people
time.
will like reach out to me and they'll be like, "Hey, like I love your content and it's great, but like just so you know, that's like bad and you shouldn't do that." And I'm like, "I know, but I only have so much time and I'm paying my bills playing poker. Like, please."
Absolutely. Yeah, like there's always something you can be doing if you're a content creator, and if like you're not doing it, then you're stressed that you're not creating content. It's a very weird vortex that I live in.
Oh yeah, it's so much pressure because like really you got to stay in people's feeds and you got to be posting 1 to 2 times a week, like minimum, you know, on each platform. Wild. Yeah. I do love my TikTok cringe videos though. Like I'll do the content that has nothing to do with poker. I'll do like the transition videos and the lip syncs that are like really more about dating than poker. But I'm just like, this is what I have on my heart to say. So.
I love it. It's good. Speak that heart, Caitlin.
Thanks, Ash. So let's get caught up on a little poker news. We haven't recorded a new podcast in a minute, and kind of the Berlin Wall came tumbling down, so to speak, in certain aspects of the high stakes community. The first brick to fall was Alex Foxen calling out Ali Ismromovic, is that how you pronounce his name?
Sure.
For number one, peeping hole cards on camera. And then he showed up with the sunglasses the next day. And we were all still processing that Ismromovic was RTAing and hole carding and stabling, including. And before we had even time to process that, the Bryn Kenney story broke. Martin Zamini went on Doug Polk's podcast and absolutely put Bryn Kenney and his stable on blast, claiming that they were multi-accounting. I don't think anyone was accusing Bryn of RTAing, but more so just colluding and taking advantage of that woman Lauren Roberts, I believe, was one of his like main targets. And it's been wild. What do we think?
I was surprised, first of all, that Martin named so many names, which is like other people that seem to have been caught up in it. Like he's kind of taking the victim line here, admitting that he had some wrongdoing, but he's kind of saying like, hey, I didn't really have any other choice at this point. I was kind of going down that path and there was really nothing I could do about it. But also he just named so many other players that were involved in it. I don't know if he spoke to them ahead of time. It was like, hey, I'm going to just air it all out or what. But the other thing is I can't believe how many people I've talked to about it. And they think that RTAing is like not cheating. They think it's like keeping up because they're like, well, I mean, everyone's probably doing that. And I'm like, you know it's wrong. Like ethically, you know it's wrong.
Yeah. And so for those, just to like define some terms in the conversation, RTA stands for real-time assistance. What a lot of people mean when they say RTAing is they mean literal software. Sometimes they can mean like they're looking at pre-flop charts. I think a vast majority of people online, or at least a good chunk of them, are using pre-flop charts online. I don't necessarily think that's what people are coming under fire more for, but we're talking about like third-party like software, real-time assistance, AI that is helping you make the most optimal play on every street of the game. And that's a little bit different.
In live poker, isn't it like one player per hand? Like it's just you can't even like have someone talk to you at the poker table and the dealer will stop them, let alone like let's use pre-flop charts online. Like
well, I mean, it's not just pre-flop charts. It's like, I mean, some people are like truly running a solver.
Yeah, solvers, yeah.
Like during the hand.
Yeah, and there
incredible.
are programs like Odin where like they put sort of a safeguard of like a 20 or 30 second buffer on it. So if you're multi-tabling, you can't really use that as a tool. They've put that safeguard on it. But from the conversations I've been hearing on these podcasts, there's actually like one step beyond that where in real time you can be solving every spot.
So a lot of this cheating and these allegations were happening in like 5K and 10K tournaments mainly. And then him talking about like ghost accounts and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of that stuff is just, by the end of the podcast, I was just thinking, I can't believe anyone plays higher stakes online.
Yeah.
At all.
Just seems like you're always going to come across something like that.
The one positive I took away from that when I was done is I was like, wow, what a great thing for live poker. Like, just so much harder to cheat in live poker.
We'll take care of you, BB. Come here, sit down.
Yeah,
Take a shot.
I mean, I know it takes forever and like the hands you're going to see and the amount of time is significantly less playing live. But I mean, the security of the game is so much better. And
and there are a lot of people that are putting pressure on the operators of these sites that it's like, okay, Chess figured it out. Chess is playing for real money. They're playing a real game where there are a lot of ways to cheat, and they figured it out using webcams and different safeguards. Like, why can't poker do that? And I think it's because a lot of the people in poker, have some seedy ulterior motives. And if you're getting the rake and you're 2/3 of the field,
well, the problem,
you're not really wanting.
The problem when it comes to stuff like that, though, when it comes to security, is much like, I mean, if you want to secure your house, right, you lock the door, but there's locksmiths out there that create the lock, but they also know how to break it. They know its breaking point, and so there's kind of an opportunity for people that know how the lock works, how a door works, and all that stuff. They can get in. So, I mean, one of the things they talked about on Stall for Wise podcast was that, I mean, it seems as though Bryn was able to see his stable's screens at different points. And they're saying, well, that's something that all of the online platforms have as a way to catch cheaters. But if the wrong person gets their hands on that ability, they can use it for wrongdoing as well. And it's like, well, that's not really helping. It's supposed to be helping, but it can do harm as well.
No, I think it's an important conversation for the online poker community to have. I don't really play online poker. I play 5-10 cent to get better with my coach, but that's
just get reps.
Just to get the reps. But I definitely feel like recreational players are going to be justifiably wary to continue, knowing that they're already at such a disadvantage and that the deck is even more stacked against them than they realize.
Yeah, I mean, I hear people say all the time, I'm not going to play online because it's just sketchy, and so that's just going to deter people even more.
It does seem that more often than not, the people that say that are really the fish too, which is so funny. It's like, well, no fish, there's no poker. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. We need them in there. We need them in the pool. What about that frog poison, huh?
Yes, we'll get back into that. Sorry about that blip in the radar, guys. We had a little technical difficulty. We're going to jump right back to it. We're talking about the Bryn Kenney Bonanza. And I just want to know when y'all are fitting to do frog poison with me. I mean, do y'all have a break in your schedule?
We got shrooms, acid, all these things. And now we got frog poison. So... interesting. Like, we needed more things to make poker players even weirder.
I would way rather someone RTA against me than put frog poison into my veins.
I'm going frog poison, honestly. I'll play the RTA player on frog poison. Well, I want an experience, Craig. I want a gosh darn experience. I haven't done ayahuasca. I don't know how many more chances in my life I'm going to do. I meet a mystical shaman that says, do you want the frog poison? Like, yes, hand me the red pill.
What's stopping you? Go for it.
I think I'm going to get some offers after this podcast goes live. We're ready for them, baby.
All right, enough about cheaters. Online poker
cheaters.
sucks anyways, so enough about that. I have some questions for Ashley.
Let's go.
So I came up with just a few questions, nothing really hard hitting or anything like that, but biggest challenge. Caitlin and I talk about women in poker all the time. So like, what's been your biggest challenge coming up in the poker world and maybe the content world as well?
Yeah, I think it goes more towards the content world of caring what people think and just trying to stay away from the negativity has been a challenge. Probably the biggest challenge of keeping doing what I'm doing and not being deterred by, the couple negative comments I get and stuff like that. It's hard. And especially being a female, I'm going to be criticized. I'm going to be called a fish. I'm going to be, called annoying, all these things. I know Caitlin gets all these criticisms as well. And definitely been the biggest challenge for me. Like, the poker part's easy. Creating content is easy. But what's hard is putting yourself out there and being passionate about what I'm doing. And then it's a vulnerability, right? Because I'm creating something and I'm making something from my heart. And then for people to kind of just get behind a keyboard and just type things and, to not take it personally has been a cool challenge, because it's also made me, a lot more confident and just brought a lot of other positive things. But at the same time, it's still a challenge. Sure.
Yeah, that's how we first bonded. Ash and I, like, I remember some of our first conversations over Instagram. I was just like, how do you deal with the fact that people are awful to us every day?
Yeah, right. I loved that you messaged me because you were so vulnerable about it. And we had played together, I think, once on a live stream, and you coolered me. And it's all good. I forget.
She had top set or middle set. You can't.
Yeah. And so we played, and like we both had respect, I think, for each other already. But and then she messaged me, and you were just like, hey, like, it's hard. Like, how do you do this? And I was just like, I wrote her this long thing, and just, it kind of helped me too, writing that out, because I hadn't really expressed that before out loud. I think of like, hey, just be you, do you, be confident. Don't let those little small trolls like get to you, because out of the one person that is mean or is negative, there's 100 out there who love what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
it's so easy. It's like a mindset, like mindful thinking practice every day to not listen to the one outlying negative voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
The human psyche, we want to just listen to that one. We want to fixate on that one. We want to, be a victim to that. And it's easy to fall into that. But I'm glad I have friends like you that can uplift me and keep the eye on the prize, because it's. You can drown in negative content. Like this week,
really
some weeks are worse than others. Like this week, I had a pretty rough week where I had like people creating fake accounts to troll my man hands.
Yeah, sorry about that.
God damn it, Craig, leave me alone.
What the part that bugs me about it, and I'm not in the content creation world, but I do.
Yes, you are. We're recording a podcast,
listen,
you nerd.
And that's totally different. But my exposure to it is more just being friends with you and sharing things, having you share things with me. The part that I don't get, the things that bug me the most in the world are things that just don't make sense. I mean, I need things to make sense. And when there's some keyboard warrior that just has to go on your Twitter and just make fun of you for something, just be negative, it's like, what? That makes no sense. Why? What does that person get at? Does that actually make them feel better about themselves?
No. So what it does is it actually, they want to bring people down because they're down, right? So it's just like, you have these people that are negative, they're unhappy in their own lives, they're insecure, and so they can do nothing but project that upon you. And so once I realized that it's like about them and not me, it was a lot easier to like realize, oh, you're just unhappy and has nothing to do with what I'm doing.
A hilarious one I get all the time is like, oh, you're just saying that for attention. You just want attention. And it's like, yeah.
Well,
you got me. I created the account, homie. Like I went to theater school. Like this is not new information, sweetie. Like chill out.
That's okay if you want attention. So what? That's why we're on these platforms. Like, I'm not out there to like get one view on my YouTube channel.
But it's like, you wouldn't be saying this negative, shitty thing about me or saying it's negative to want attention if you didn't want attention. And it's like the people you go on to that like say something shitty, you go to their profile and that's all their platform is. Yeah. It's just cutting people down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a prison in itself. So sometimes you just got to like say, God bless you. And just like, I'm not going to take ownership of that. I'm not going to claim that. I'm not going to claim that. It is especially like the recent one of just like, oh, you're making up these stories, you're lying to get people to feel bad for you. I'm like, I'm not like, how is it hard to believe that men are inappropriate at a poker table? Like, why do you have such a hard time feeling that like a woman would ever be mistreated at a poker table?
We don't reserve that for poker tables.
It's kind of like a global problem. Like we call it the patriarchy. It's like a little thing that's been going on for millennia.
I hate to speak for men everywhere, but we are inappropriate all the time.
And this is another conversation that Ash and I have had. Last time you were in town, I was talking about how I definitely like play that role of the table where I'm like trying to make it fun. And a lot of times that comes with like telling dirty jokes or being really flirtatious. And sometimes it bothers me that I'm like, oh, like, I don't know that this is necessarily the most natural part of my personality, but I find myself pushing it and like stepping on that gas pedal just because if I make the inappropriate joke or the inappropriate comment before you can't use it to weaponize that against me.
That's the 8 Mile defense.
Explain that one.
You ever seen the movie 8 Mile with Eminem?
I haven't.
They're doing like the rap battles and everything, and it's all just like you're just dissing the other guy, dissing the other guy, or whatever. Well, when he gets to like the final battle, what he does is he like spends his whole minute and a half or however long he has naming all of his own faults. And then at the very end, like his last line is like, here, and he throws the mic at him. He's like, tell him something they don't know about me.
I love it.
And the guy's got nothing to say, and he just sits there in silence and like drops the mic and walks away. Like, can't beat that. I don't know what to do. You already said everything.
Well,
So,
what can I say? Me and Eminem have a lot in common.
so what's your favorite thing about Texas poker? Because it is so different. I think you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, it's so different. I just told Caitlin earlier, I'm like, I'm never folding top pair in Texas ever again in my life.
Mistake.
Don't say that publicly. You'll get exploited.
That's the thing. I won't be. No, like I think so. You know, like there's no ranges, there's no bet sizes that make sense, and you know, it's just people love to gamble here, and I think that's what I love about it. Like they just love to play pots, see flops, and try to win a big hand. And yeah, if you get top pair, just hang on for dear life.
In our very first episode, our top 5 was what makes Texas poker so different. And I think the most important one on that list was that we don't have casinos here. So the gamblers play poker.
You know, wow. I never thought about that. That's actually very true.
So, I mean, there's like kind of slot machines, but like people that would probably be degenning at blackjack or craps or whatever, like it just doesn't exist here. And especially like Austin. I mean, you are
good luck finding a
6
dice
hours
game you
from a
feel
casino.
safe with.
You mean 5-6 hours from the
Safe
casino.
keyword. Yeah.
Safe.
So yeah, I mean, the people that want to just get out there and gamble and throw chips and cash around, like they're playing poker because that's the closest thing.
That's a good point. I didn't realize that. So,
and so
makes
yeah,
a lot of sense.
I mean, they're not thinking in terms of big blinds, pot size, whatever. There's like $15. Okay, whatever. Like,
And I
toss
honestly
15
feel
in.
like it's going to stay that way for a very long time. I think like the card rooms, you know, I believe that they're going to stay open. I feel like maybe every now and then there'll be like a local district attorney or like a bad actor that like maybe takes a bribe and like they come under fire again. But at this point, the industry continues to balloon. I mean, we've got this series at the Lodge coming up that the main event is like a $3,500, $2 million guarantee. Is that what it is? Or
Something
3
like
or
that,
2.5?
Something crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to continue to draw tourism. And I think like the card rooms are safe, but I also think that they're safe. The state is safe from casinos.
Yeah,
I
for the
don't
time
see
being.
that happening.
That's going to take a long time. That's going to be like a multi-step process.
I mean, we don't
think.
even have horse racing anymore. And that's why some of the like bad beats and jackpots in Louisiana, like they have all the money from the slot machines that
that's
are
what Sam
juicing
was
up.
saying.
That's
That
what
was
Sam
really
was saying, right?
interesting.
But in Texas, we don't have that.
Yeah,
Wild.
super interesting.
So another thing I want to ask you about, Ash, is you just made a very exciting announcement that you are now a part of the Poker Bro team. Can you tell us a little bit about this new journey?
Yeah, I've like when I first started this, and you know, I'd watch, you know, I'd look at Card Player magazine, I'd see people's faces on them, and then I'd look at, you know, these poker ambassadors. I'm like, I want to do that. Like, you know, I want to be an ambassador for this game. And so I had my eye on the Poker Bros thing for a while. I thought it'd be a really good fit for me because they want me to travel and play tournaments, which is what I love to do. Wear their patch and, you know, be an ambassador for the brand, and it's just like a dream fit for me. So I'm really excited to just join the team and be a part of it.
Yeah, we've had one of your teammates, Seti Trevino, aka Poker Traveler, on. I feel like all the Poker Bro, and there's like Cali Poker Kid. I feel like they choose fun people. I would be so complimented to be on that team because like every single one of them is a big personality, a great content creator, and a nice person. I think you fit right in.
They're all great at creating content. Seti's been doing it for longer than I have actually, and it's just really cool. Like it's just one of those, another milestone in like my career that I can look at and be like, yeah, like I wanted that, I saw it, and I went and got it, you know. And so it's like I'm super proud of myself. Like not in a toot my own horn way, but just like, you know, I'm trying to make moves and I'm doing it. And it's cool to see the progress and just how far I've come in a short amount of time. And there's just a long way to go, but this is a small step on it. So
no, I mean, you've made amazing progress in a short amount of time. I mean, you're saying you're only in poker for 5 years and you already, you know, got that patch. Let's go.
Do they need to change the name? Because Poker Bros is awfully manly.
Poker Bros and Ho. Singular.
Poker Siblings? Can we just make it Poker Siblings?
I'm
That's
technically
inclusive.
a Poker Bros friend. So that's,
Okay, that's what the language is. Poker Bro friend. I like it.
What a cop-out. They can do better than that.
Do you want to shout out our sponsors? Do we have a sponsor? Can we take a sponsor break?
Back is Patch Addict.
Patch
We've talked about them at length. www.patchaddict.com. You can go there, use the code TexasPoker to get 20% off your order with no minimum. I won't talk too long about that because I can tell you that the owner of Patch Addict has some new products coming to market. There's going to be a website It's going to be called buttonraise.com. It is not up and running yet, but there's going to be some new poker products coming there. And I've seen a few of them. I've seen the prototypes, and they're pretty cool. So
I want some patches made.
look
Pokerface
for
Ash
that.
patches.
I mean, you already got the denim jacket, so you're halfway there. I'm gonna need to get me one. Maybe we can have matching patches.
I will say one of these products, well, a bunch of them are very, very like bomb pot heavy because I mean that's a very, very Texas poker thing. These bomb pots. So like
we gotta get Ash's take on the bomb.
These freaking okay, well.
What are your feelings on bomb pots? That was one of my other questions. These
Because
double board
it's
bomb
so
pots.
new to me, I think it's fun and I like it. But good God, I could lose a lot of money at these.
Yeah, they can
Last
get
night
wild.
I misread my hand in a PLO bomb pot, and I thought I flopped top set, and I only had one pair. So that was good. Yeah, oops. And then I ended up winning a big pot. But no, they're fun. I like to gamble, and in those spots, like it's fun to like be like, oh, am I gonna peel a big hand on the flop? So it's fun.
Well, a hilarious thing that's happening in Austin that I don't know if you know about is one of the first things that Doug Polk did was he took bomb pots out of all the lower stakes. So there are no more bomb pots at 1-2 hold'em. There are no more bomb pots at 1-3 hold'em. You have to play 2-5 or higher to play bomb pots.
I want to be fair though; they have started a bomb pot only game.
Okay, so the bomb pot only game.
Just
if you want to
bomb
scratch that,
pots?
That's all you do.
oh
is
yeah,
play-
we have
play
tables
bomb
that run
pots.
like that every now and then at the different clubs.
Yeah. It was running the other day when I was there doing tables, and I was hearing such a funny thing to overhear when you're not like sitting at the table. They were trying to figure out who had what because like 6 people made it to showdown in a bomb pot. It was like, no. There's 2 pair here and like 2 pair. Who cares? This guy's got a straight. And like I don't see the straight, and then like it
That
was
sounds
hilarious. Even the
terrible for the
dealer like
dealer.
arguing with all the players. It's just a nightmare.
But what's so hilarious is like the other clubs like using it as like, oh, that's how we're gonna get them. So if like you look at their social media and like all their promotional materials, it's like, come to play at Red Star Social, bomb pots, the 1-2, every orbit on the orbit. Come get you some, honey.
I am a big fan of the bomb pots. It's just it's like where the game of poker is going in general is it's getting closer to being, it'll never be fully solved, but it's getting closer, right? Some people were talking about chess last night, and they were talking about content creators in chess and how a lot of the chess players and content creators are moving over to poker because the money is so much easier, and they're actually enjoying the fact that it's not like linear. It's not like put in this much time, you will make this much money. It's like, hey, it could go really well. It could go kind of shitty. Like, let's find out. And they're like, okay, cool. So they were like loving the fact that the game's not solved. And I'm like, bomb pots are the epitome of that. It's just like, I think I'm doing the right thing here. I hope I'm doing the right thing here.
I will say though, after doing a bomb pot and then going back to 2 cards is like such a like down. Just like you gotta switch gears a little.
Yeah,
Coming off the high there.
I myself love bomb pots. I'd say I'm probably a winning player in bomb pots. If you know how to navigate yourself through a split pot and you have a fundamental
aggressive in bomb pots. Man.
I can be. But anyway, the point is, I understand why people dislike them though, because of the amount of time they take up.
Yeah.
People are going to be tanking more on decisions in the game they don't understand more, so they just take longer. They're 2 boards, and the dealer has to split, sometimes quarter the pot, and they take up a lot of time. So rather than maybe like 25 to 30 hands an hour, if you add a bomb pot or 2 in there, you're seeing significantly less hold'em hands, which is
there's a
game you're
big
there
problem
to play.
too in that they want to do the PLO bomb pots in hold'em games, and sometimes you get a dealer that's not versed in PLO and keeping track of the pot and not, it's just
home games.
I mean, it's just tough because sometimes people say, "Oh, I want to pot it," and it's like I have no idea.
Give me a
what it
minute.
is.
Give me a minute. We'll get there.
I mean, but if you get yourself a good dealer that can kind of keep track of the pot and keep it kind of split as the hand's going and try to expedite the process, because they can take a long time. The worst ones, ironically, are the ones where there's not a lot of action. Because then you end up with 4 or 5 people, like that hand that was going on at the lodge, 4 or 5 people at showdown. They've all got 4 cards. There's 10 cards laying out there, and you're like, holy shit. And then you say, okay, what do we got on the top here? I see 2 pair on the top. Does anyone beat 2 pair? And then people think the bottom is the top, which is no, I have a straight. And be like, no, there's no straight possible. Like a set's the nuts.
The
on the
one
top.
further away from the dealer is objectively the top, y'all. You're stupid if you're calling the one closer to the dealer the top. That is the bottom. We all know that. We're not having that
let's
conversation
set the record
anymore.
Straight. It's the dealer's top and the dealer's bottom.
Ryan,
Done.
Ryan
Right?
DePaulo
Done.
and I were
Especially if the dealer is a top. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ryan and I were playing on a live stream last night, and he tried to boycott the PLO bomb pot because he said it was taking up a lot of time. So I do see that for sure. Because he was stuck too, so he's like,
Yeah, it's always the player that's like super stuck and like they don't think that they have an edge in that game that are going to be like the most tilted by it for sure.
Yep.
But then also if someone is ever getting tilted at the table for any reason, I am a fan of that as long as it's like humane.
There were some massive scoops in the game I dealt last night. Oh my gosh,
I
I've never
believe it.
seen. I mean, that's what makes bomb pots exciting, right? Most of them are split, but occasionally you get the scoop.
scoop.
But last night it just seemed like way more than normal, and the really, really, really big ones were getting scooped. It was wild. There were plaques in that game. We'll just say lots of plaques in the bomb pots on both sides.
No, Ash was telling me a story where she flopped the nut straight, and I'm like, and like that, like that's all I knew at that point. And I was like, I don't like where this story is going because like
scared.
flopping the nut straight is scary because you're like, shit, I have the nuts, I have to play this, but like
on for
somebody
dear
has a set, somebody has a flush draw, somebody has a backdoor flush draw,
Yep.
and I have 2 more streets to get through, and I know 2 yahoos behind me are probably gonna pot this bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Sucks. I wanted to run it twice when we got it all in on the flop, and I was scared.
I would be
Yeah.
too.
I was like,
Straight
"It's a big
up,
pot."
because y'all are playing single board on the
Yeah,
streams. They
I
have to
was-
play single board.
I think it was one of the biggest pots I've played in general anyway, because I don't like play super high or anything. So I was like, can we run it twice, please? And he was like so far behind. And if I would have just ran it once, I would have scooped. Instead, he got a quarter. And I was like, damn it.
I do that to me too. I've started to where like I know I'll ask every single time if I'm in an all-in situation. I ask every single time if they want to run it twice, whether I'm drawing, whether I'm dominating. Like I just do because I don't want it to be a read. Because I feel like if you do, especially all-in pre, if you ask to run it twice, they just assume you have ace king and they're like run it once with like 7s, and you're like, dang.
Well, and there's some players that go with the philosophy, which is wrong, let's just say. But if they're ahead, they want to run it multiple times and just lower their variance.
So they don't get sucked out on.
Right. And so there's like some players, it's just so obnoxious. I mean, I deal the same games over and over and over again. They're private games, so it's a lot of the same players. And sometimes this guy will go all in and the guy's in the tank, calls, and then when he calls, immediately the first guy will say, do you want to do anything? And I'm like, well, he's got the nuts. Like immediately. So it's good for balance that you're saying you're doing it every time.
No, I just do it every time. And it's hilarious because even when I know they're like, for instance, Westlake, Matt, Bones, these are players that are always going to run it once. They're professional poker players.
Yeah,
and
nothing
they,
wrong with that.
If they get in an all-in situation with me, they want to run it once. And that's absolute. And we'll get to that hand history later. But when it's ironically playing in lower stakes that everybody is much more willing to run it twice or whatever. But if I am flipping for $8,000 goddamn dollars, they look me stone cold dead in the eye and they say once.
That's more than a few dollars.
Because it's polarized. Because it's like it's the pros, it's the absolute like dog pros, shark pros that are gonna say run it once. But there's also gonna be that super action player that like is ripping it with Jack 4 offsuit, and they're like once, and you're like okay. But then they like make it. I mean, Bud Light Brian is the king of this, of the run it once, make a straight flush with offsuit of Jack.
$8,000 is more than you can shake a stick at. Do you remember when I said that last time? We didn't know the origin. I looked it up. I want to set the record straight. It's a shepherd reference. Shepherds would like direct their herd or flock of sheep with a stick.
I think you have big shepherd energy. Like you just saying the word shepherd, I was like, in a former life, you wore
for sure.
a tunic
Yeah,
in
for
Greece,
sure. I
see it.
and you
But when their
cared for your sheep and goats.
When their flock would get too big, all of a sudden the stick doesn't work. So that's like the whole thing is like you can't shake a stick at that flock. They're not going to follow you. So
All right,
I
that's
learned
why
something new.
Yep.
gotta bring in
See?
the dogs.
You're welcome. Last question.
Okay.
Super easy one. What's your second favorite podcast?
Salt for a while. Gotta go with salt for a while on that.
Got 'em.
No, the only
Turkey.
the Only Friends podcast is honestly so good. I've watched every single one of them so far.
been doing a great
Melissa is hilarious.
They
on
do
it.
a really good job of having 5 and 6 people
Yeah,
on there,
I don't know
and
how
it
they do
still
that.
flows.
Yeah, it's good.
Which
it's
is
good.
tough.
And they do a good job of not talking over each other too much. I mean, sometimes they do. They're doing like a podcast every day. But anyway, they're doing a very good job. If we can cross promote for them, y'all can cross promote for us too. If you want to like give us a
I
little
like
shout
it.
out.
No, I thought they've done a great job with that.
Top 5/top 26 is ways to make a woman feel unwelcome or uncomfortable at the poker table.
I think it's very
Y'all
appropriate.
have a lot for this. And
We
I'll,
have an experience, yeah.
yeah.
Had
Okay.
a few experiences.
I have a few.
Number
One or
5,
two.
mansplaining. Let me explain what that is.
Okay, please
Okay.
break it down for me.
Okay, mansplaining.
You're going too fast.
Mansplaining, okay, is when something is being spoken about at the table and there's a little old lady present, and it's just above her little head. She can't possibly understand this.
Can't
so I'm going to
possibly
explain
understand.
it. I'm going to explain it to you like you're a 4-year-old. Okay, that way you can be included. Isn't that nice of me to
God
include
help
you in
you,
our
ladies.
conversation?
God help you, ladies, if you ever ask a question at the poker table. You will get 7 different, very thorough answers. Like if you're like, oh, are you allowed to straddle under the gun? No, you can do Mississippi straddles here. You know what a Mississippi straddle is? There's a straight along button. Hey, let me break it down for you, little lady. It's like, shut up! Shut up!
Number 4, talk about her body specifically or the female body in general.
Listen, y'all. We know it's very sexy for a lady to play poker, and that some of you find that very attractive. I don't want you to talk about my boobs while I'm playing poker. Like, I'm at work, sir. You wouldn't do this if I was your waitress at Applebee's. Well, maybe, actually, probably the ones of you that are there would be crossover there. Please don't talk about my breasts at the poker table, y'all. They're for giving life. How dare you?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that when it does happen, I can't believe it happens. It's like just assumed that it's going to be okay and everything's fine, and she wouldn't be here if she didn't want us to sexualize her. I think there's a lot of other reasons that she would be here. I mean, there's a poker game going on. After all, that's why we're all here.
To take your money.
Yeah.
My money.
Yeah. So number 3, a girl comments like when you show up to the table.
Oh, you don't see a lot of ladies playing poker. How are you doing today, young lady?
I was like, why do you have to draw attention to me? Like, I'm here to play. Just like, you wouldn't say that to a guy walking up the table, so just let us be.
Look at this Dickslinger coming to play poker with us. A guy at the table? That's unique.
That type of comment definitely merits a no shit Sherlock kind of response.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know that both of you, well, Caitlin's probably not over that. Caitlin would probably say something like that.
Say no shit, Sherlock?
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah.
I might. I try to be friendly. But again, like back to the old conversation of it's like, yeah, a lot of times I'm the one talking about my tits because I've had so many experiences where they talk about my tits and it makes me uncomfortable. So it's like I am flipping the bitch on you. And it like sucks that I have to do that or whatever, but also I'm super fun and down, so I will.
Number 2, touching in any way, shape, or form. This is something you've dealt with recently, Caitlin.
Twice in the last week. 2 separate times. I had a stain on my shirt, and a gentleman, 2 different gentlemen that I was playing poker with, touched my tit to point out the stain on my shirt. And
it's a strange line. It's definitely negative EV.
I feel like
but
it's not.
I feel like the
something.
GTO play there is to maybe not even point directly at, but just say, Caitlin, I noticed you have a stain on your shirt.
Yeah, but I obviously know I have a stain on the shirt. I put it on this morning. Like, you don't need to tell me about that. The reason why you're bringing this up is to touch my tit.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't have to touch to point something out. I could say, Caitlin, I noticed your ring. I don't have to touch the ring. I could say,
No,
that's
you can
a gorgeous
kiss it
ring.
though. You can kiss it.
I just don't understand the excuse to touch there. That's a pretty bad one.
It's thin. It's thin value. They're going for thin value.
Super wafer thin value.
And I went home with both those men and we're very happy together. No, y'all, no. I don't like it when you touch my body without my permission. Like, ugh.
Yeah, it's very awkward. I don't get it. But what about like the shoulder touch when being spoken to?
No, like I do
just
this
awkward.
to guys at the table all the time. Like, that's respectful. Like, side hug, that's respectful. Like, literally you touching my tit is across the line. We found it. Yay, we found it.
Yes, but do you do that to a stranger?
Touch their tit or scratch their shoulder?
No, like the shoulder touch thing, like whenever, just like...
Not someone that I've like just sat down with. If I have any type of
saying.
rapport with them and there's like clearly a joking around there, like, but yeah, I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of men will do that to a woman, but they wouldn't do that to another guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're going to get up and say, I'm going to go get a drink. Oh, do you want anything? And like, they're going to do the touch. And it's like, what?
Something about playing poker with men at the table gives them a certain like permission to like do or say things that they might not otherwise in a different
patronizing.
In a different atmosphere, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. It brings out some weird stuff.
It's almost like they're the ooh, it's a girl thing, or oh, it's a woman
Yeah.
playing poker thing. It's
Yeah.
almost like they want to be welcoming, but their efforts are having the opposite effect.
It's just clumsy.
I do see that. Yes, it's true.
And I do want to make allowance or like say like a lot of people times they don't have malicious intent. It's just clumsy flirting.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like-
It's like they're trying to be accommodating, but they're really in the opposite. It's like, can you just treat me like everyone else, please? Thank you.
Yeah, like one time I was wearing like one of my favorite like flannels is like a red and black lumberjack style shirt, and the guy was trying to flirt with me, being like, "Oh, are you a Twin Peaks girl? Is that your job? You're a Twin Peaks girl?" And it's like not the nicest thing to say to me. It's also not that bad, but it's just kind of like
I love that red
It's
and
just
black
clumsy.
flannel because it's kind of lumberjacky, and your man hands look awesome. in it. They look so good in that thing. Like, your hands have never looked more manly than when you wear that red and black flannel.
Thank you.
I love that.
I have an exhibition show later this month where I'm just gonna be like crushing cans and ripping phone books.
Crush them on your head. Yeah.
Dude, you're going to get so, oh man, if you actually did that.
Number one, drum roll, please. Assume she's obviously there to play poker because she's trying to find a man, right? Mm-hmm. That's the
that
only
a
reason you
thing?
play poker.
Well, it is for me. I'm desperately thirsty at all times, but I know some women find offense to it.
Yeah, just like being hit on and
No, but like in that same category is that it's like, oh, like the whole like, who gave you money to play poker? Or who got you into poker? Did your boyfriend, your husband play
Where's your
poker?
husband? You
Yeah.
must be at another table. Nah, bitch.
it's
Here
cool.
by myself.
It's cool that
I've
your
been single
husband.
for most of my adult life. Thanks for asking.
It's cool that he lets you play poker. Isn't that
Oh.
sweet?
Oh gosh,
That's
don't
freaking
get me
awesome.
started.
To be honest, I get that a lot too. Being a married man, family man, a lot of times
Speaking
people are
of
like, I
which,
can't believe
here's
your
your
wife
reminder.
lets you play
Yeah.
poker. Yes. Happy anniversary, honey. 3 whole years. That's just unbelievable, to be honest.
We love you, Jackie.
3 years, 2 children, dog, 2 cats. She's the only female. Bless her heart. Love her to death.
Thank God she's Jackie. She can hold her own against all you gents.
I know.
Yeah.
She does a wonderful job. She's an excellent mother and a very, very good wife too, but twice the mom. It's incredible to watch. I love it.
Stop, I'm crying.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do get that all the time. Like, I don't have a whole lot of time now, but like when we were married before Charlie was here and, you know, all that stuff, is like, I played a lot of poker and people are like, I can't believe your wife lets you play poker. And stuff. I'm like,
Right.
you understand what a healthy relationship is? Like, we communicate, we talk about stuff. I tell her I like to play poker. She says I like to do this. And I'm like, cool, you know, like put our schedules together, make sure we still have time for us.
Yep.
She's not letting me. It's not a permission thing. She didn't like have to sign a slip so I could come to the lodge and play 1-2 for a couple hours.
I hope you make her a milkshake masquerading as a coffee later in my honor.
I could. That's a skill I possess. Yeah, I could do that. So, any honorable mentions in this category? I know we get 5. We constricted it to 5, but there's like 100. There's so many.
Like, just like if you would just like think about it as like the women in your life that are your friends, your sister, your cousins. Think about how you would want them to be treated if they were to play poker. And there are women like me and Ash that have been around for a while. We've played a lot of games. We're hardened. We're calloused. We know how to handle these different moments that come up, even though they can be hurtful depending on, the context and what's going on. But just if you want to grow the game, if you want to make it more accessible for women, ask yourself what you can do on an individual level to make the woman at the table feel more comfortable. And a lot of times it's not pointing a stain on her tit and touching it.
I actually have a question right now that just came to mind, and it's an actual honest question. You've been at games that I deal. You know, I'm very I make a lot of jokes. I talk a lot. I curse a lot. I noticed I don't think I change anything when a female's at the table, but I noticed that a lot of other guys, they'll drop an F-bomb or something and then they like want to apologize for it. Which on one hand, it's like I very much believe in chivalry and, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, well, are you acting differently just because she's here? Because maybe she doesn't want that.
This
How do you feel
reminds
about
me of
stuff
a
like
funny
that?
story.
If someone curses and is like, sorry to curse.
Well,
sorry
my
to
line
curse.
is like when they're like, I don't know about you, Ash, but if they like actually say pussy or something and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm like, yes, please say cunt next time. Like I just kind of like
lean
try
into
to
it.
make them feel more comfortable. Like you don't have to save on airs for me. But it reminds me of a story. I was sitting around with Sabado and Pierre before or after a lodge stream that I did a few months ago, and Pierre was talking about one of the different gals that works in the poker club, and he was like complimenting her, and he's Italian, so he's like, oh yeah, she got a lot of cake, and then he made eye contact with me right after he said it, and he was like, oh sorry, and I'm like, no, it's fine, I'm sure she'd love to know that. And then he was like, well, I mean, we are at a poker game, no?
I think I appreciate the gesture of like they noticed something that could have been disrespectful and they acknowledge it. I like that, but at the same time, I don't want them to like talk differently because that we're there.
It is respectful to check in, though. I agree with you. It is disrespectful for you to check in. See, how is this going over? Is it okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On to a hand review. Caitlin, you said you have a good one. We are running low on time, so make it quick.
Okay, so I was playing in a private game with Bones, some other guys. Texas John was there. Boots was there. And so because Boots was there, we were all taking tequila shots. And Gordon was there as well. Gordon was passing on tequila shots. And I was just being ridiculous. So I was like, oh, Boots, I weigh more than Gordon. I can keep up with you. So then I attempted to. So I'm pretty sloshed at this point in the evening.
Surprise.
I know. It was 4 tequila shots to get me drunk. I'm not that skinny. But
the fact
anyway,
that you took them inside of 10 minutes was the amazing part.
It was over a couple hours, but I was still sloshed. And I had a card rush finally. I hadn't played a lot of cards that evening, but I had a card rush. So I opened up probably like 3 pots in a row. On the third one, I get 3-bet. I'm opening King 9 suited. I get 3-bet by Bones in the small blind. And I decide that like maybe he's probably doing this light because he's noticed that I've opened up a few hands in a row and I like my hand. So I decide to play even though King 9 suited is a fold to a 3-bet. But I'm in position and I say, let's go. So the flop comes Jack 10X, 1 heart. And he leads out to me, and I think that this board favors me, and this is a good position for a check raise.
Gutter backdoor hearts?
Yeah. And I think that this is a good position to check raise. I'm also kind of drunk, so I'm taking all the aggressive routes when I'm at like a spot where you choose. So I check raise all in because of stab depths. So it's like close to a 5K pot now because he snaps me off, absolutely snaps me off. And of course, it's like, you want to run it. I don't even ask to run it multiple times at this with Bones. He's probably the only exception because I know he's just like, no, screw you. I got you this time. So then the run out came and it was heart, and I had the nut heart. And I tabled it and I was like, you caught me, hand in the cookie jar. I was like a little shit about it because I was so drunk. And he never showed his hand, but he had to probably have had queens or kings exactly because the jack paired and there was an ace on the board.
Okay.
Queens. Wow, he's got you super blocked if he's got queens.
Yeah, you're dead to run in your heart.
We found it.
Great call. You lose, but good call.
No, and he was actually trolling me because I was so drunk. I was like literally about to vomit. So I asked for a ride home, like 20, 30 minutes after this happened. Not from him, but from the game runner. Yeah, I'm like, Bones, can you take me home now? And he's like, literally go fuck yourself forever.
That's like when someone wins a big pot and then they want to like ask you like if you would have played it differently, if they took a different line
there?
or whatever, and it's like, fuck off.
That's the only thing I could have done.
Shut up.
That's the only thing I could have done that would have been brattier. What'd you have there?
Hey, as you're stacking the chips, you're just like, Bones, I'm gonna need a ride home.
No, but
I'm getting kind of drunk. I need to go home.
No, I was being a little shit about it because I was joking around with Boots because I just like clearly like sucked out the hardest suck out of my life. I deserve to lose 2,000. Instead, I won 3. Like sometimes you get lucky.
I'm gonna suck out, hit and run, and need a ride.
No, but like I was just so drunk. Not a lot of time had passed since that hand. I probably played a couple more orbits and then I left. And I saw him in a social situation later in the week, and it was so funny because it didn't even register me that he was trolling me at the time, but he was like, we were at the Mavericks game, and he's like, Caitlin, are you going to stay for the whole game or are you going to leave early? I left at like 1 a.m. at the poker game, just to be fair, but I didn't even register to me that he's trolling because I'm like ditzy and spacey sometimes. So I was like, oh no, I'm going to stay for the whole time. And then I walked over to the bar to get a drink, and it like dawned on me that he was trolling me.
Those are the best trolls. The subtle trolls are the best trolls.
And then I walked back, and I'm like, Casey, I walked all the way over to the bar before I realized you were trolling me. Good one.
Good one.
Okay, our favorite segment. The most impactful. Harsh but fair. Are you familiar, Ash?
We end.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
We end every episode of Texas Poker Experience with a segment we like to call Harsh but Fair. The object of Harsh but Fair is to troll one another in a way that something that is true and fair, but also very, very harsh. You're not allowed to make excuses for your feedback. This is a loose rule. We usually do that anyway. You just receive your feedback. It's a call and response. You say, thank you, harsh but fair. Craig, do you want to go first this week?
I do want to go first.
Okay, lay it on me, hun.
All right. Caitlin.
Yes.
I was made aware last night that you would not need a ride to the studio to record because you have purchased a car. For as long as I've known you, it's been like, Caitlin, you need a ride, which is like a rhetorical question because I know you do. So it's like, okay, you live on the opposite side of town as me, but it's like 3 a.m, game just broke, you're hammered, of course you need a ride. And Uber's going to be like $60. Like, yeah, of course. Like I'm kind of famous for that. I give lots of people rides home after the game. I don't drink. I'm always sober, like whatever. Just give people rides so they don't have to wait on an Uber, make sure they get home safely. And it's already like 4 or 5 in the morning. Who cares? Like I'm going to get home late. Doesn't matter.
So my harsh but fair is what a great man you are.
No. So my harsh but fair is like now you're not like beholden to me to get places. So that sucks. I can't like hold that over your head anymore. So I'm going to have to find some new content. That sucks.
That's harsh but fair. Play Miss Independent by Kelly Clarkson now, please.
So, Ash, I had to think long and hard about this one, but you've been delightful, and you just come in here and you're just like, I've got an hour. Got an hour of my time, so you're just going to like limit us to an hour. Sucks. Would have loved to go a little longer. I think we had some really good conversation. Could have legged it out, but you're like so busy.
We are very
so
busy and important poker women. We have to go.
So busy, actually.
We're just going to have to
crazy.
Cut it off here, I guess. So just take that.
Harsh, fair.
Nice.
Fair. And I wish I could stay longer because we could talk about a lot of stuff. And I would love to come back and talk about a lot more stuff.
I'm going to make you come every time you're in town and we can work it in. So look forward to that.
Yes.
Okay, my turn. Craig, harsh but fair. Your harsh but fair is that you left the game early last night like a weak child. You spent 12 hours in the box and refelted 20 tables, and that's enough work for you. Now I can go home and rest. Now I want to prepare for tomorrow. You're not done yet, Craig. The work is not done. You stay in the box till it's done.
I mean, apologies to the Austin poker community. Apologies to you. But we found the breaking point. I am weak, harsh, but fair.
Perfect. All right, Ash. Your harsh but fair is that you are so damn gracious all the time, and I'm not. So your graciousness and gratitude and kindness makes me look bad by association, and I'm sick of it. So if you could just like work in some more bitchiness to make me look better, that would be great.
Harsh but fair.
Thanks.
Yeah, instead of you rising up, let's just bring everybody
We got
down.
to push her down. We got to push her down. I don't have room for growth. I don't have room for growth.
GTO move. GTO move, for sure.
All right, Ash, let us have it. Let us have it.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I can't think. I'm not prepared for this.
Are you passing on harsh but fair?
Yeah. Let me come back and really think about this because I'm one of those people who like I'll get an altercation or something will happen and then I'll be in the shower and I'll be like, oh, I should have said that. That was a good comeback.
Here, I'll give you some ideas for Craig. His elbows are way too pointy. His face is way too handsome. God, what is that? A chin cleft? What are you, Gaston in Beauty and the Beast?
The butt chin? Yeah, these are past. The elbow thing's new.
We could fit so many snacks in that chin cleft. So many snacks and luggage.
Yeah.
It's a cavern. It's a cavern on your face.
Jackie's got dimples on her cheeks. That's how I knew we were meant for each other because she's got
Y'all are
cheek
so damn
dimples,
attractive. It's rude.
And
it's
I've got
rude.
the chin
I
dimples.
feel like Jackie and I need to have a
Compliment each other
3-point competition at some time.
Let's do it. I know she'll do it. She's also like 4 or 5 months pregnant right now.
Oh,
but
okay,
she
we'll
will still
wait,
do
we'll
it. I
wait.
promise you, she'll still do it. Nothing will stop her.
Yeah. I love how thick her accent is because she's from like West Texas, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, she's got a very sexy voice.
It's been a long time because we've been, starting the family and all that jazz. But
Yeah.
when she drinks, it gets so much thicker. That's how I can always tell like how many
drunk
drinks
she
she's
is.
had. Yeah, it's 'cause it just
I
gets
have
thicker
similar
and thicker.
qualities.
Coors
Anyway.
Light becomes Kurs Light. That's my favorite.
Curse Light.
Kurs Light.
Gosh, Jackie, we love you. Thanks for being married to Craig. Happy 3-year anniversary. Congrats on your new baby boy that you got on the way. We're so happy for you letting us borrow Craig. If I
Taking
can do the
name
thing I said we don't
suggestions,
like.
by the
earlier.
way.
Oh, names?
Yeah, we've got it down to like 3. We
Caitlin.
can't figure it out.
your beautiful son named Kalen. I don't see the problem.
A boy named Sue.
All right, y'all. This has been the Texas Poker Experience. I got to run and go play the Lodge live stream. Ash has got a meetup game at 52 Social. If you haven't followed Pokerface Ash on her YouTube channel, her Twitter, her Twitch, her TikTok, or Instagram, please follow her. Get on that freight train as it's skyrocketing to the moon. Trains don't skyrocket. Don't worry about it. My name is Kaylin Komeski. This is Craig Sear. If you enjoy the Texas Poker Experience, please, please, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell your friends. We're growing slowly, but we're getting there. Welcome to all of Ash's new friends who are seeing us for the first time. We hope you stick around for more Texas poker-centric content. Thank you to our sponsor, Patch Adams. Y'all have an amazing week. We'll see y'all real soon. Little birdie told me Andrew Nemi might be here. All right, y'all. Thank you. Have a good day.
Don't be a nit.
And remember to straddle.